What's the deal with the Nintendo Direct from November 12th, 2015? That was yesterday. For those of you watching it today, if I got the video up, I hope I did. This was the first ever Nintendo Direct that I've ever seen. And, I kind of wanted to just talk about some of the stuff that's in there. And, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of news for games that is, pretty exciting. I watched it late last night, and by that I mean it was actually technically this morning by that time. But I watched the whole thing, and you know what, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. I mean, not that I have a list of things next to me that I'm looking at. So when I do this, that's an exercise that my neck does, for these bitchin' neck muscles I have. Chicks dig it. And there's a lot of stuff I could talk about from that, like Pokemon, the original Pokemon games coming to 3DS with online capabilities. There's Terraria coming to 3DS and Wii U. Mega Man Legacy Collection is coming to 3DS. I mean, there's even Star Fox Zero. They talked about Star Fox Zero, which sounds really cool. Well, the name doesn't sound cool, but the stuff that's in it looks cool, so let's say it looks cool. I can talk about all that shit in length and more. I mean, there were tons of just announcements on there. It was crazy. But this is Zelda month, and that there's just no way that Nintendo can get me more pumped than to talk about The Legend of Zelda. So, without further ado, let's talk about the Zelda news from this Nintendo Direct. Roll the intro!
Welcome to What's the Deal with Sam? Starring Sam Lilly. Join Sam as he discusses a wide variety of topics. Now let's start the show.
Thank you. What's the deal with Zelda news? Alright, so I'm just going to talk about this in the order that, it came up. In the order that I wrote it down. I mean, the order that I've exercised my neck in. So first up, the very first thing that I think the entire thing started off with was this announcement that Twilight Princess was coming to Wii U with a remake called Twilight Princess HD. To which my immediate reaction was, fuck you. I literally said this out loud to my 3DS. And the reason I say that is because, do we really need another fucking pointless remake? This game is not that old. I mean, yes, I know there was a version released on the GameCube, but it came out at the same time as the Wii version, so it's more or less a Wii game, right? And, it doesn't look that bad, it's not that old. And also, you have to consider the fact that, the Wii U not only has Wii backwards compatibility, meaning you can play Twilight Princess on your Wii U already, but also they're supposed to be putting Wii games now, if they haven't already, into the Wii U eShop. So basically, you can get Twilight Princess on Wii U pretty easily. It's only going to be a slight graphical upgrade. That's the only thing that sounds different. Who gives a shit? That's not what the Wii U needs. The Wii U needs actually new Zelda games, right? I mean, we already had Wind Waker HD. That was already pretty pointless. And I guess, Twilight Princess has room for more improvements in the visuals, but that's about it. What's going to make it different? Probably nothing. They're not going to do the whole motion things like Skyward Sword did. I'm pretty sure they're going to go back towards the GameCube version. They're going to step back from the slight motion controls that there even were and make it so you can use stuff like the gamepad and the Pro Controller and all that shit, so it controls more comfortably for people who didn't like the very slight implementation of motion controls even in the original Twilight Princess. Oh, but the thing that's going to make it much different, they did mention, the thing that's going to change it is that you can now use Amiibo with it. I guess some of the Super Smash Bros. Amiibo are going to be used with that, but they've actually created this new Amiibo of Wolf Link to be used specifically for this game. Whoop-de-fucking-do! I mean, that's not that I necessarily hate Amiibo, but they're really pushing them hard, and I think they're kind of stupid. I do. I mean, you can like them, that's fine. I just think they're kind of silly because they barely give any real functionality, but this isn't about the Amiibo. But this is just about the idea that your whole game-changing thing is to have people play with a fucking little plastic statue. Why? What is that gonna add? How much can that really add to your game, besides making maybe some kind of weird unlockable content that requires that, which you could just either put in the game already or have it just as regular DLC. It's a tad ridiculous to be doing that, and I'm sorry, I don't like that. The only interesting thing about that is that some of the data on this amiibo that you play in probably Princess HD will be carried over into The Legend of Zelda for Wii U. Yeah, the new Zelda game, the one that, I've been excited about, and a lot of people have been wondering about. Hasn't really got much attention for a while, and I was kind of sketchy on that. And I was super pumped to see that they announced this, that it's going to be coming out next year. That's right. They said, they didn't give an actual date, they just said 2016. And I guess that could be pushed back. But, just the fact that they're saying finally, like, okay, this is coming out. At least as far as I know, this is the first I've really been like, okay, this is coming out. You're going to see this game. But sadly, that was really all they mentioned of it, and like, even as someone who doesn't have a Wii U, probably won't for a very long time, if ever, this is probably the thing I'm most excited for to come out on the Wii U. I mean, it's Zelda game, a new Zelda game on the Wii U, which it needs, and it's finally coming out, and that's a good thing. I've got very, very high hopes. I'm very pumped. That was the thing I was most excited to hear about, and they just barely said anything except for, oh, this is how you can use a piece of plastic with it if you also play, our other pointless remake. So, I don't know, it was disappointing in that sense, but just the fact that this is going to be coming out and they acknowledge that, I think is very, 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 I said too many varies. It's very, pleasing to me, I guess. It's nice to have it really confirmed and be like, okay, this isn't something that's going to be out, it's not going to be a dual release on the NX or worse, just going onto the NX instead, like I had feared. I like more details, but I guess they're trying to stay out of spoiler territory. Also, I think the thing is called the NX is going to be their next console, unless they change that name. It's kind of a silly name, but whatever. What was the other thing? Oh, right. I also announced a new update for Triforce Heroes, so I guess if you have Triforce Heroes, this is a free update that's coming out. It's going to add just another dungeon, and I think it's going to add a few more costumes, which give you different abilities in the game. And the fact that it's just a free add-on, and it's supposed to be like a huge dungeon, I guess, that's cool. I like that idea. It's nice to get free content with your game. It's nice that they're able to not just, make this extra thing and say, hey, why don't you give us a little bit more money for the rest of the game? Like, no, it's nice that they've just made it free. It just makes your game better. That's cool. And I like that. And that is neat. Well, I don't have much to say else besides that it's neat. What the fuck is this other thing that I wrote? Oh, right, and the one other thing that they announced, or at least they're talking about later in there, yes, is, I think I'm done with my paper. Neck exercises. Paper neck papers. Is that, they're releasing Hyrule Warriors Legends, which is basically a Hyrule Warriors port for 3DS. I believe there's going to be different characters in there. Like, I think they said Princess Ruto was in there. There was a king from, I don't know which, I forgot which game they said the king was from. I feel bad. But how fucking generic is it? Just a king? I don't know. They have Terra from Wind Waker, and they have Toon Link in there, and Skull Kid, so like there's some interesting characters they're tossing in there. And I think the big one they were talking about was this new character called Linkle, which is a female Link, essentially, I guess. But I think she's going to have a different kind of play style as Link. So, either she didn't need to be called Linkle, or, let's face it, that's a fucking stupid name. Do they need to? They could have. I would have been fine to just called her Link, even, and just had her be a lady. But I mean, that was, I guess fine, having being able to play as, a female version of Link, essentially, that's cool, that's I said it does some crazy moves and stuff, and I don't know, everything looks fucking hypercharged in that game anyways. So it's gonna be interesting to see it come out for 3DS. That's probably where I'm gonna get it, unless I have a Wii U. But I don't know if I'll ever have one soon, so we'll see. And I'm not too overjoyed or upset. I'm not really going either way on this new character thing. It's fine. I guess it's nice that they're still creating things for it. And she's hot. So what's the deal with Sam? 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 Oh, and I guess Cloud was announced for the new Smash Bros. Or something, I guess. Who gives a shit?